Hi everyone, it's me again, and today we will be talking about gender peculiarities in translation, right? So most of researches done regarding gender in translation have dealt specifically with the issue of translators' gender identity and its effect on their translations. And the main focus of our today's lecture is on how gender itself is translated and produced. First of all, let's talk about grammatical gender. Okay, most linguists consider gender as a grouping of nouns into classes of masculine, feminine, and sometimes neuter, such that the choice of a noun or of a given class syntactically has an effect on the form of some other word or element of the sentence or discourse, such as articles, adjectives, and pronouns. According to Powell's, languages with a grammatical gender system categorize uh, nouns into gender classes on the basis of morphological and phonological features. However, while many believe that a grammatical gender system does not have connection with extra-linguistic category of gender, Corbett, who is the author of Cambridge Textbook of Gender, acknowledges that grammatical gender system is not merely a morphological system, but it has also a semantic basis which becomes obvious, particularly in gender assignment to human nouns, where most nouns referring to women are feminine and those referring to men are masculine. And I would like to give some opinions by some scholars, linguistic scholars. For example, Romain, she explains how gender got into grammar. She states linguists have traced the origins of grammatical gender in the Indo-European languages, which includes the present-day European languages, to a system of noun classification based on similarities of sound. The use of the term feminine and masculine, Romain maintains, goes back to the 15th century when Protagoras divided the two noun classes of Greek into groups tagged by them. She asserts that the grammatical term is derived from the Latin genus, which meant race or kind and had nothing to do with the gender. In the 19th century, she says, German grammarian Jacob Green spoke of the concept of grammatical gender as the morphological extension of natural order of gender onto each and every object. Things named by masculine nouns are, in Grimm's opinion, were earlier, larger, firmer, more inflexible, quicker, active, movable, and creative. Those that were feminine were later, smaller, softer, quieter, suffering, and receptive. And in this case, Romain believes that the Grimm's analysis shows a radical belief in male superiority. Romain believes that modern European languages probably inherited grammatical gender from a pattern of noun classification arising in ancient Indo-European, which originally grouped nouns according to phonological and sound-based principles, which then developed into a grammatical system of syntactic concord or agreement. She claims over time, however, those nouns classes acquired a certain amount of semantic motivation by association with certain prominent nouns belonging to them. Thus, classes with a larger number of nouns referring to female animates became associated with the female sex, whereas those containing a larger number of nouns referring to male animated were associated with the male sex. So Van Berkom believes that grammatical gender assignment in different languages could be on the basis of one of the following characteristics of the noun. Number one, semantic of the referent. Number two, phonology of the noun. Number three, morphology of the noun. Or number four, a combination of the above mentioned factors. And let's talk about translation problems due to grammatical gender, okay? Grammatical gender may cause translators some difficulties when they translate from source language in which gender is differently grammatized compared with the target language. These difficulties may be particularly intensified when grammatical gender coincides with the gender of the referent. For example, when the source language shows no gender distinction in the first person pronoun, but grammatical gender agreement patterns, which may produce the effect of gendered reference through gender concord. And the target language shows not only no gender distinction in the first person pronoun, but also no grammatical gender agreement. Scholar Nissen, for instance, presents an example in which source language, Spanish, shows grammatical gender syntactically in a way unavailable to target language, in this case, English. So that difficulties arise for the translator as to how to convey the information about the gender of a person in question. Nissen argues that in such kind of cases where target language like English does not mark gender in predicate construction, then the translator should resort to other means to convey the necessary information about the gender of the referent. So has done the translator in some cases in his book. Please, I advise you to read it on your own. And he notices that where the Spanish original focus on I, like pronoun I, is a type of woman, but in English, translation focuses on I. And as you can see, in Spanish, I and the sentence shows the gender, but in English, it doesn't show the gender. And there occurred many difficulties and challenges in translating a certain text or poem. And a back translation from English to Spanish would most probably prompt and would also help us to see whether our translation was correct. In this way, this translation procedure not only adds the necessary information, but at the same time also intensifies the focus on the fact that the referent is a female. Therefore, is the female, I'm sorry. According to Nissen, similar problems may occur in many other cases. In fact, everywhere where the source language, by means of agreement structures, operates differently from the target language, which is in connection with noun modifications, pronoun uses, pronominal references, and so forth. And this is what I wanted to say today about the translation issues of gender in the text, and I think, and I will be expecting you to share your ideas and knowledges in your video presentations, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.